Hello friends, Namaskar. Welcome to Dr.RAjeshverma's YouTube channel. In this video, we'll be talking about problem solving, an introductory part of the problem solving. So what are the problems? How to solve them? We'll be discussing the meaning of problem solving, the characteristics of problem solving, and interestingly, problem solving has its own problems. That also we are going to discuss. And finally, we'll be discussing some strategies of problem solving. Now let us move. Before we start our this discussion, we'll be starting with some important quotes given by some eminent personalities of the world. The first quote was from uh, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who was also known as the Missile Man of India and the People's President. He said, "Man needs difficulties in life because they are necessary to enjoy the success." Means, if you do not have problems or difficulties or obstacles or challenges in your life, certainly the taste of success won't be as beautiful or wonderful as it has to be. So for that, we has to have some challenges in our life. Then comes the Swami Vivekananda, the youth icon of India. He said, in a day, when you don't come across a problem, you can be sure that you are traveling in the wrong path. Means the problems are the integral part of your life, and you must meet these problems, meet these challenges, and try to find out their solutions. This means if you are following this process, this means you are following a right path of living. And then comes the a quote from the millennium scientist Albert Einstein. He said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." That's what's a wonderful idea. Means we need to have just opposite cognitive processing or thinking process for the solution of problems. So this is the mistake lots of people do. They try to use the same thought process to solve a problem as it was created. So this is a very beautiful and a very interesting thing he said. So we need to have a different set of ideas, different set of thinking process, so that we can come out with a solution to a challenge. So these are the some quotes. Now let us move with some definition of problem solving. The process of finding solution to problems. This is the most simplest definition of problem solving. Means the activity, the mental or cognitive or physical or physiological or psychological process, all these process that helps in generating a solution to the problem. This is the simplest definition. You must know that. Now, the cognitive process, as I told you, the problem solving is a cognitive process, starts in the event of some problems or hurdles and ends when a solution is found or goal is reached. This is the definition which involves the three components of problem solving. The first one is the cognitive process. It starts when you meet a challenge or in the event of a problem. So it has to move or initiate in the event of a problem or hurdle and ends and it stops. That particular cognitive process stops when a solution is found or the goal is reached. So these are the three important components of problem solving given here. It is a cognitive process and it has some initial state and some end state. So that was the second definition, and the one more definition will be studying here. That problem solving is thinking that is directed toward the solving of a specific problem that involves both the formation of responses and the selection among possible responses. So here it is a different set of ideas as far as this definition is concerned. This definition emphasizes that we create various responses, various solutions, we generate various possible solutions, and the point is we have to choose or select the most appropriate solution out of that pool of solutions. That is a problem solving, and this occurs This process occurs with each type of a problem, means every problem needs its own specific solution. So, dear friend, these are the three definitions as far as your problem solving is concerned. Let us go for some introductory part of problem solving. No, we are discussing problem solving. Obviously, we'll be starting with an interesting problem. Suppose there is a thirsty dog and has 6 feet rope tied to its neck, and a pan of water is 10 feet away. How would the dog reach the pan? Dear friends, we'll be discussing the answer at the end of this video. So, problem solving, is an index of high level processing ability. This means if you can solve various problems at a good speed or with good accuracy, it suggests that the processing level is higher, that is cognitive processing is level is higher. So this is an index. The technological development that is in front of you while you are watching this video. This is a technological development. All the art, everything you see today is the outcome or the resultant of the problem solving done by the human beings. Human beings, not only human beings, in fact, all living beings face challenges and problems at every step of their life. And interestingly, they solve these problems by devising various strategies and through their cognitive abilities. Means they devise their own strategies to deal with their own challenges and deal with their problems their own way. Various peoples, various living beings face a similar problem, but they devise their own cognitive strategy because this cognitive domain is unique to an individual. There is no similarity in thought process. So they devise their own strategies, devise their own plans to deal with the problems and challenges they face in their life. Problem solving is a special type of thinking that involves visualization and several other types of ideas and concepts utilizing cognitive resources. So, in visualization, the moment I say visualization, it means if I say park, you have been to a garden or a park. The moment I say the garden or park, there is an image has come into your mind. You have visualized the park or the garden you have seen by your own, and I have own image of that park or garden. So that is visualization. Visualization is a part and parcel of problem solving. And I told you, problem solving has its own problems, own hurdles. So what are that? The major obstacles that inhibits finding solutions of the problem solving are: first one is the mental set. Second one, the functional fixedness. Third, lack of motivation. And the fourth is the confirmation bias. Let us define each in a little bit of detail. What's a mental set? Name itself is self-explanatory. Mental set means we are already set. Means we do not need to variate or we do not to find other solutions or other thinking process. We do not to use our thinking process different from what we have to finding solution to the problem. It's a state of mind to deal with the problem by adopting pre-tested and tried mental operations. It has been seen at various times. People use their that pre-tested and previous solution to all try to solve the problems with the same thinking and the process. So that is mental set. Depending upon the nature of stimulus, mental set enhances the perception and thinking and also inhibits the same. This is a very important point here. Mental set can be a hurdle to a problem solving, and it can be a smooth way. What does it mean? Sometimes mental set helps in problem solving faster, whereas sometimes it inhibits the problem solving. If a problems are of similar nature, mental set helps you in solving the problems. Where if a problems are of different nature, that time mental set acts as a hurdle or inhibits the problem solving. The second one, functional fixedness. What is functional fixedness? Remaining fixed on a usual function of a thing. That means if that your mobile phone, if you think that your mobile phone is just made for making and receiving calls, and you cannot use it another way apart from its basic function, this means you are facing the functional fixedness. The term was given by the Carl Dunker in 1945. The tendency to perceive things in terms of their familiar use only. I'll give you a beautiful example here. This tendency creates hurdles in their using items beyond their common use. Means the thing which has been made for something else, made for some particular function. If we are using that item for that function only, this means we are suffering from the functional fixedness. In India, there's a word jugaad. So jugaad means using that item which is made for some different function and using for different function. That means that is overcoming the functional fixedness. If for example, if you use pencil, it's a simple example I'm giving you here. If you use a pencil for making flyover for ants, it means you have overcome the functional fixedness. The usual use of pencil is to write, to note down something. Or sometimes people use it in their ear to do that. Or sometimes we use pencil to do this. That is also beyond their usual function. But if you are using pencil, if there is ants are moving, there is a small pool of water. Then ants are moving around that, so they are taking more time for their journey. So to avoid that, you think that you place that pencil there, and that ants start using that pencil as a flyover. So this is where you use that pencil for its apart from its the general uses or common uses. So that means you have overcome the functional fixedness, and this is a very common problem faced by the people while engaging in the problem solving. So what an interesting thing. Then comes the lack of motivation. Motivation is a beautiful, powerful force in an individual that can do. The individual who is motivated can do anything which he or she like. A person is good at problem solving. He has a good high index of cognitive ability, but lacks motivation to do so. In that case, that cognitive ability or your processing speed or your finding solution or your creativeness, everything will be remain uh, down. You won't have if you don't have motivation to do so. In this case, it becomes difficult to arrive at a best fit solution to the problems. Sometimes people give up easily and stop trying. There are various stories, motivating stories, and various videos available on the YouTube. You can see that people, those who lack motivation, they generally do not have a quality life and they don't have a variation in their life. They lack problem solving not by virtue of their lower cognitive ability but by virtue of their lack of motivation. They give up easily. They fail to persist. All this is attributed to the lack of motivation. So motivation is an important component. If you are highly motivated, this means you can solve problems, you can meet challenges with your motivational process. And the fourth problem with the problem solving is the confirmation bias. Confirmation bias means conforming to the ideas and beliefs of self in forthcoming information. Whatever individual receives an information, if an individual finds and conforms to the already preset ideas, preset beliefs, preset thought process, prejudices, all that these should be like that only, as per my wish, as per my will. So that is the major hurdle in the problem solving means confirmation bias. It's a type of cognitive bias and selective interpretation. What is selective interpretation? Interpreting the information as per the own beliefs. So that is a very important point here. So whatever that is also though the confirmation bias is related to the perception. The bias is stronger for the desired outcomes. whatever outcome I wish from a particular information or particular activity, if I wish that this should be this activity or this uh, issue must come out with such type of outcomes, if I am expecting that I'm forcing to do that, this means I am suffering from the acutely suffering from the confirmation bias. This bias is stronger for the desired outcomes, I told you, for emotionally charged issues and for deeply entrenched beliefs. So these were the four inhibits all the problems that people face during the problem solving: mental set, functional fixedness, lack of motivation, and finally the conformant bias. Now let us discuss some characteristics of problem solving. The first one is the each problem demands specific solution. This is very important here. Means if you come across with various problems, then every problem demands its own specific solution. Sometimes a particular solution works for several problems. Yes, that also can happen. As something is addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, these mathematical activities, mathematical processes that require that are helpful. Suppose you are going to purchase something, there is a bill. You when you total that, you have to add all these things. And and the other way, if you are counting the total number of trees around your area, that time you also add that. So see, these are counting of trees is a different problem, and your total bill of a grocery shop is also another problem. So you have to add them. That also you have to add them. So this is the point where I told you that sometimes a particular solution works for the several problems. This is a very crude example. You can use it, you very well know that. So what are that various example where we use particular solution for various problems. Then comes the problem solving is not unique to human beings. It's a very interesting thing. We should not make ourselves feel ourselves that we are special beings, that we can only solve the problems. Problem can be solved. Not only can problems are solved, challenges are met by each living being up to her or his or its own ability, that is cognitive ability. Even trees and plants also engage in problem solving. Then comes the problem solving involves selection of best solution from the pool of possible solutions. This is important too. When we engage in problem solving, when we are discussing the stages of problem solving, that will be explaining this point in deeper detail, some extra details. At that time, problem solving, we select all potential solutions of a particular problem. Out of that potential solution, we just select the best fit solution from that pool of solutions. So that is also one of the important characteristics of the problem solving. This means problem solving engage decision making. The fifth characteristic is the problem solving ability is the indicator of relatively better cognitive ability, which I told you, not only better cognitive ability, that is an index of high processing ability. Then comes problem solving is the function of observation, perception, intelligence, creativity, and thinking. These are the five basic points, five psychological processes or the concepts which contribute in the problem solving. If you have good observation capacity, certainly you will find the solution of the problems easily. Perception, if your perception ability is almost to the level of the reality, in that case too you can solve the problems easily. Intelligence, creativity, and thinking, all these five components. So my dear friends, here is an important point here that sometimes in examination you may be asked, name the five important psychological concepts or the functions that helps in the problem solving. That comes to observation, perception, intelligence, creativity, and thinking. Problem solving is goal directed thinking, having initial and end state, which I discussed to you in the definition itself. Means there is a problem, when we face a problem or a challenge, that time our cognitive process starts. So there is an initial state and end state. End state means when a problem, solution to a problem is found or a goal is reached, that is the end state. So this is point here. Problem solving is goal directed, having initial as well as the end state. Now let us discuss some important problem solving strategies. Very important, because you know what is the problem solving. But you must know how to solve these problems. What are the strategies that are required to solve these problems? First one is a trial and error. It's a very simple mechanical solutions, arriving at the mechanical solution of the problem. Then come the algorithms. Then finally it is the heuristics, and fourth one is the insights. It's a very simple, very interesting one. You can use in your real life too. Now let us discuss each problem solving strategy in a little bit of detail. First one is the trial and error. It's a very simple. You can see here in this example, this mother is helping the small baby to learn how to ride a bicycle. This is a trial and error. In this method, various solutions to a problem are tried successfully, and until the best one is arrived at. We try to learn bicycle, we fall down, again we try this way, that way, and finally we learn to ride a bicycle. It's a very simple thing. No, it's not very simple. It's a very complicated, and it's a very idea or the activity that requires your persistence. So, for example, take a little example. When you have an email account and you forget the password, what you do? You try to use various combinations of your previous password. That is the trial and error. This is simple. Then second one is the algorithms. What is algorithms? It's a scientific method. It's a series of well-defined steps which gives a method of solving a certain type of a problem. Means there are steps are defined, such as a operating SOP, standard operating procedure. It's a type of SOP where each step is divided. After each step, what we have to do, if we follow these steps, certainly we'll reach to the solution. But here one point is, it's made for specific problems. The step-by-step procedure is applied to solve a specific problem. Not all problems. It doesn't mean that you have devised one algorithm, set of algorithm, a set of rules for a particular problem, and that is applicable to the all. No, that algorithm is applicable for a particular or a specific problem only. This method ensures correct solution, but it's a time consuming because you have to follow each step. The mathematical formulae are the best example of algorithms. You know Pythagoras theorem, you know the trigonometric functions, you know the arithmetic progression, various type of formulas. These all formulas are what? They are algorithm. They are the example of the algorithm. You can very well understand that because and you have to follow each one the steps mentioned for that formula. So that are the algorithm. For example, the computers use this method to arrive at a solution. Algorithms are not always practical. Means in real life, algorithms are not practical. If they works with the machines, they works with the sometimes with human beings too. But in real life, always it is not practical. Let's take an example. When you withdraw money from ATM, automated teller machine, that ATM approximately, almost not all, approximately follow the 45 steps to push out your money. Every time, the moment you withdraw some 10,000 bucks or some 20,000 rupees, every time that machine will come through that steps only. This means that machine will follow all that 45 steps. So that is the algorithm. The third important strategy also is known as the heuristics or the rule of thumb. An educated guess based on prior experiences. So this is very important here. It is just opposite to algorithm. It's a guess, which is educated guess, informed guess that is based on the what are the previous experiences with the particular problems. So that experiences or that specific ideas or the concept we utilize in the previous problem solving, the human being try to use same to the next problem too. So that is known as the heuristics. Most of the time, human beings tends to use the heuristics for the problem solving because it's easier and faster method. Suppose you locked your house today and you keep your key at particular location. But at only one day, particular day, you change that location. But when you come back home, what you will do? The moment you enter your house, you will search the particular location which always used to search because it is based on the prior experiences. because it's a faster method. That time you find that no, key is not available here. So what do? You try and use the different method that is known as the trial and error method. But heuristics is not always lead to correct solution. As I told you, you just enter your house, you check the same location where you used to keep your key always, but you don't find your key there. This means heuristics has not worked here. It doesn't make sure that you will reach to the correct solution. Whereas algorithm makes sure you reach to the correct solution always, because there is a step by step. Heuristics are of different types, such as the representative heuristics. Backwalk from the goal means you just set goal, whereas people do this activity or they do this, use this backwalk from the goal while they solve the reasoning problems, where that is multiple choice reasoning problems. There is a question comes that the Rahul's age is 20 years, after 5 years, so double the age of his father and so on. So they, and such type of questions you'll find, and there are 4 options given. What you do, what the various people do, various students, they start from the goal itself. They take one option there. From that, they come back to the, they walk back to the solution. So that is the back walk from the goal. And converting goal into sub goals means bifurcating or breaking down the goals into smaller sub goals, so that it's easier to find solution for the small sub goals, and after that you combine that solution and you'll come up with a particular simple single solution for the problem. And the means end analysis, this is a very important heuristic problem. What are the means and how to reach that end? So if you analyze these things, the problem can be solved. So this was the third and important method known as the heuristics. And the fourth and the final one is the insights. You must have heard, if you are a psychology student or a teacher or enthusiast, you must have heard the name of the Sultan. Yes, you are right. That is the ape or chimpanzee on which Wolfgang Kohler in 1917 conducted various experiments. He published a book. Name was The Mentality of Apes. And in that book, he suggested the method of problem solving, that is insight. When a solution to a problem comes instantly, suppose you are busy with doing something and you come up with a problem. You are doing some computer activity and you come up with a problem that your Word, Microsoft Word or some application is not working properly. You trying several times, you spend hours together and you leave it. Oh, it's so boring. But after sitting there for few minutes or some 20 or 30 minutes, you come up, oh yes, it's oh so simple, it's here, it's a problem, is the solution is here, and you come up with a solution. So we generally call it the moment, and in Hindi it is famously called as a dimag ki batti jalna. You know, yes, if you read the insight experiment or Kohler's experiment on Sultan and other chimpanzee, where the Sultan used instantly the sticks, they joined these sticks together and reached to the bananas. I'm not going to discuss that experiment here, but you can read this in the, or you can watch my videos on the learning. When we're discussing the learning, that we'll be discussing that experiment in detail. So at that moment, the Sultan's dimag ki batti jal gayi, and that is the insight. This is also very important problem solving strategy. In insight, the brain tends to reorganize the problem when busy with something else. Means you leave the problem and you are sitting aside and thinking something else. At that moment, what your brain does is reorganize all the components of the problems and tries to come up with the solution. So that was the 4 important strategies of the problem solving. My dear friends, yes, we have come up to the solution to the problem. What is the which one problem? The dog problem. I will going to discuss with you. By this time, you might have come up with your own solution. And I suppose you might have. We discussed today some quotes, the definition of the problem solving. Then we come up with the characteristics of the problem solving. And we discussed some problems that are, when we engage in problem solving, that is mental set, functional fixedness, conforming bias, and lack of motivation. And finally, we discuss some 4 strategies of the problem solving. That is heuristics, algorithm and all, trial and error, that is insight. So, what is the solution to the problem? It's a, dear friends, it's simple one. The dog would walk to it. Dog would walk to the pan of water because the rope was tied only to his neck. If you'd like to see, you can see that problem once again, and you'll find that I have not mentioned that second one end of the rope is tied to the neck, but where is the other one? There is no discussion on that. So this was a solution to the creative problem. My dear friends, these are my references. You can always cross check them, or if you want to study more, just focus on these references. So next discussion will be the stages of problem solving. Here I mentioned in Hindi the ugly charcha, means the next discussion will be going to discuss the stages of the problem solving. My dear friends, by that time, if you have any doubt, any question or critical comments or appreciative comments you want to make, you can write in my comment box as well as in the you can write directly to me through my email vermasudit@yahoo.com. By the time, my dear friends, thank you for watching.